For the gas law lab, you're going to go find gas properties under worksheets and click first on Boyle's law, and you're going to see a balloon with the different settings here. And what you're going to do is you will be changing the amount of pressure to see how the balloon reacts to that, and you're going to go from 1 atm right here all the way to 10. So what you can do is you can change the lever to move things up and down. Or the easiest thing to do is just click on this digit. You'll see it turn a color and then you can just change it. So before you start your lab, you can play with the lever to go up and down if you want. But when you're ready to start the experiment, this is dealing with ideal gas 1, which has a molecular weight of 4. Instead of having to continuously write and record data, we can just use this save button. So the save is going to save all of the changes that happen in this system while you're changing the pressure in the unit. So I'm starting to record, and I'm just going to click on here and you'll see it green. That means I can change it to 2, 3. And you're going to do this all the way until it gets up to 9.999. This will be the easiest way to get to 10. You could also use the lever here, or now we can just hit R to round it up. And then once you get to 10, you can see what has happened to the balloon, and then you'll click on stop. And you'll be able to see your data here. This is the gases of the balloon. This is all the data that was collected for volume in liters, the pressure, the temperature in Kelvin, and then N moles of gas. And then if you want here, you can just save this as ideal gas 1, and then you can just close out of that. Once you're done with that and you've checked your notebook and saved your gas as a new name, we can click on this arrow to go back to the stockroom. And we're done with ideal gas 1. Now we want to return the tank. And we're going to click in the stockroom over here and find experiment balloon for nitrogen. And then you'll see the different settings here. So we'll repeat the same experiment with nitrogen gas and just continue to change the atmospheres. And remember to click save to start your experiment. And then you'll click stop. And we'll have ideal gas and 2 boil. So what we need to do is to process our data, and you can click right here for gas 1, and that's going to open this data window. And we just click on copy data and then open up Excel or Google Sheets. I'm going to do this in Excel. Once this is open, and we can just paste it. So either you can click on that or do a Control V, and that is going to paste my data in. So I have all the data in the spreadsheet here, and I need to create a graph with volume on the x-axis, which is the one going across, and pressure on the y-axis, which is going up and down. The easiest way to do this is to highlight the 2 columns that you want. So we wanted volume on the x-axis and pressure on the y-axis. So highlight these 2 columns. I'm going to insert a chart here, or a graph. I'm just going to do a scatter plot, and you'll want to make sure that you have the right data selected. So I can right click on here and do select data, and it's going to show me what data is selected. And if you want to edit this, you can. So here is the series X value. So just to make sure the X value is highlighted, and that's what we wanted, was the volume. And then the Y values are also highlighted here. So that's what is on the other axis. So we have all of that graphed, and you want to make sure that your graph has the 4 things that it needs, which is a title. So we're going to give it a title by just highlighting this or clicking on it. So this is Boyle's law and pressure versus volume. So we have our title. We need axis labels with units, and the way that we can do that is just click on the axis. This is our x-axis. We want an axis title, and that's on both. So now I can just click here. This is volume, and make sure it has units. So this is in liters, and this is pressure in ATM. Because we only have one set of data here, we don't need to have a legend. And because we're not plotting a straight line, we don't have to worry about an equation. So this is our plot of Boyle's law, which is pressure versus volume. And so you want to make sure to include this in your report. So you're also asked to multiply or find the product of pressure times volume, and you could calculate this individually with a calculator. A shortcut, what you can do is just insert a column here. So I'm going to right click and insert, and then we can just set up a formula. So I want to multiply pressure times volume at the different pressures, and what I can do is hit an equal sign and then do A3, select A3, this column right here, and then use the multiplication sign or the asterisk on the keyboard and then times that one. And just hit enter, and that will calculate the product of P times V. And you can just type in what that is so you know. And what you can do to calculate the rest of them is just click on this little box down here and drag it down, and it will copy the equation down all the way so you have the product of those. So you can see what the product times volume is for each of those volume and pressure changes, and then you can also look at the pattern and the relationship on the graph. So make sure to include the graph on your report, and you're going to do the same thing with nitrogen. You'll have the same type of data, you're going to copy it and then make another graph. For the next part, we'll go to gas properties again, and we're going to choose Charles' law. So here we're going to manipulate the temperature, and here we're manipulating temperature. So you can again use the lever here to move things up or down. Or if you want, you can just click on the digits. I find that to be the easiest and least aggravating way to do things, but if you like the clicking sound, you're welcome to do that. So what we need to do is remember to click save so that it saves our data, and then just start increasing the temperature slowly, 100 degrees at a time. And notice that our temperature is in Celsius. And we're going to do this until it gets to 1,000. And here again, if I type 0 here to make 10, it won't work. So I'm just going to do the 9s and then round up. And then I have it all the way to 1,000, and I can click on stop, and it will have my data here. So this was ideal gas 1, and this is Charles' law. And I can just close out of there. And then we're going to have to switch tanks, and you're going to click on return tank to return the tanks. Then you can do the nitrogen. Open your data window by clicking on the lab notebook. We're going to copy our data and get our graphs ready. So you're going to open up Excel and then do Control V or paste. And here's your data. And when we go to graph this one, we have to graph volume times temperature. And the columns aren't right next to each other, so it's a little bit more tricky. We can just start by highlighting the temperature column and then go to Insert Scatter Plot again. And then we have our plot. So now we can right click on a dot and go to select data and click on the edit data, and we're going to choose our X, which we've already selected, but you can go ahead and select it again just to make sure, and then click on that arrow, and now we're going to select the Y data, which is the volume, and there's your graph. So you can click OK again, and we want to make sure we change the chart title. So we have Charles' law, which is temperature versus volume. And then we want to add our axis titles. We'll have temperature on the x-axis, and that's in degrees Celsius. And we can insert a degree symbol by selecting where you want to put it. Go to Insert Symbol. So click on the Latin 1 supplement, and you'll find your degree sign. And it'll show you at the bottom that it says degree sign. And just go ahead and click Insert and Close. And then you have your degree symbol. And then we have volume in liters on the y-axis. For Avogadro's, we're going to go to Gas Properties, select Avogadro's Law, and we're going to change the number of moles. And you can do that by moving the lever up and down or just clicking on the unit. So we're going to increase the unit by 0.1 moles, and you can watch what happens with the balloon's volume. Save, and then we're just going to increase. We're going to look at our data. This is ideal gas 1 Avogadro. Copy data. To determine if Avogadro's law of V1 over N1 equals V2 over N2, you can set up an equation like we did earlier and divide volume over N and see if those values for V1 is the same as it is for V2.